the American Declaration of Independence. This was a document conceived by ordinary men who became extraordinary men when they put their names on the document. At the time of creating this document, these men and the rest of the colonists were in the beginnings of the first American Revolution. In defiance of a king and tyrant, a new nation of men and women declared in one loud voice that we choose to be free. By signing this document, these men were betting their lives against all odds that America would become free. We the people must now declare a new American Declaration of Independence in 2012 and begin the Second American Revolution. Now is the year 2012, and it is 235 years since our first American Revolution. In those 235 years, Congress and the office of the President have become corrupted. Over the past 166 years, America has accumulated more and more national debt. Today, our national debt is over $16 trillion and growing. This means each taxpayer part of the debt is just over $134,000 and growing. If you break it down to per citizen, and there's 313 million of us, give or take one or two, it comes out to over $48,000 per citizen. No country, no economy can sustain such spending without going bankrupt. The federal government has become an incredibly ugly Ponzi scheme, and it is only legal because Congress writes the laws and the President signs off on the new law. The last time America had absolutely no national debt was in the year 1845, and the President was Andrew Jackson. Congress and the White House have sold out the American people. The average net worth of each congressman is well over $1 million. Many of those in Congress, their average net worth totals into the tens of millions of dollars. The salary of a congressman is less than $200,000 per year. Yet these same people spend tens of millions of dollars to be elected and re-elected. There is no legitimate reason why anybody would spend $10 or $20 million to get a job that pays less than $200,000. There can only be one reason, and that would be corruption. Congress has become an exclusive private club where only the ultra-rich may join. It has been rare over the past century that an average person is elected to Congress. There have been very few Joe the plumbers or Jane the teachers elected to Congress in the past century. The vast majority of our elected Congress have a little idea of what it is like for the average everyday American in the real world. They are either ignorant or more likely just do not care what it is like, because they live in a completely different world. They do not have to face the everyday money problems that the average hard-working, tax-paying American faces each and every day. Both parties continue to play the blame game, and they are not taking any responsibility for this continuous, irresponsible handling of the American tax dollar. Both parties are equally gross at mismanagement of the American tax dollar. In just the last 3 years, our national debt has leaped by more than $4 trillion and growing. The Senate has not submitted any budgets in the past 3 years. By law, the Senate is supposed to present a budget each and every year. The president on this has been AWOL in this 3-year period. Congress has acted like they were all board members of Enron, and the president is looking more and more like Bernie Madoff. This must make the Americans either stockholders to our Congress, Enron, and or investors to our president, Barack Bernie Madoff Obama. Regardless of which, we are all being ripped off by Congress and our president. Both political parties strive to divide the American people. They play the rich against the poor, white against black, one race against another. Neither party really wants to see the vast majority of Americans become united. This would mean that the current corrupt two-party system would come to a crashing halt. In 1776, 13 individual colonies were able to put aside their differences and unite in defeating a tyrant king 6,000 miles away. The difference between those colonies were greater in some respects than our differences today. The question for the coming year will be, can Americans put aside their differences, unite, and win back our country? America is projected to have a $1 trillion+ deficit each and every year through 2020, and even beyond that. If this happens, there is no way that America as we know it can survive. The federal government, over the past many decades, has grown like a giant cancer virus, consuming and destroying all that is good about America. If America is to recover, or just to survive, we must reduce the size of the federal government. We must cut deeply into federal spending and force our political leaders to live by a balanced budget. The financial problems that our country faces is the fault of both Republicans and Democrats. The American people need to wake up before it is too late. You need to wake up and smell the coffee before it's too late, folks. Each day we have choices to make, and none is more important come this November when we vote for new members in Congress and the guy in White House, or lady. The Republicans swept the House of Representatives in the 2010 election. You have 10 months remaining to prove to the American people that we chose right for voting you into office. To all our political leaders, you have 10 months remaining to show the American people why you should keep your job in Congress. Washington, the clock is ticking, and you are running out of time.